any bit and piece of work that is done to take a product or a service from its raw material input stage to the output stage.
Expectations and demand from the industry has also changed, not merely just to the advisory level, what used to be the consulting firm used to do earlier.
Across the globe, the management of any organization, they do not understand any language like English or Japanese or French or German or Tamil or Telugu or something.
So earlier the pain points of the industry was different.
Every process is an operation.
Those time it was not much analytics was not there.
We're competitive in the market on a pricing front. If my costs are low, I can better compete in the market.
In Hyderabad itself, in Telangana, more than 106 Japanese companies are operating in various domains, various industries.
Welcome to the panel discussion series on the dynamics of management consulting, hosted by Hyderabad chapter of Institute of Management Consultants of India. I would like to briefly introduce IMCI, Institute of Management Consultants of India. It has 8 branches with headquarters in Hyderabad, 8 chapters we call it: Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, Delhi, Pune, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Hyderabad. For Hyderabad chapter, I am the chairman. My name is Aryasri, Dr. Aryasri. I head Hyderabad chapter. I am retired professor and director, School of Management Studies, JNTU Hyderabad, and recently I was awarded ICMCI Academic Fellow Award, International Award. Now, I would like to briefly explain how this ICMCI is a governing body for all the chapters in the 50 countries. India is one. Now, in other words, our Hyderabad chapter or IMCI, Institute of Management Consultants of India, is affiliated to a global body called International Council of Management Consulting Institutes, right? So this is a brief about, and we advocate, we always hold advocacy for Certified Management Consultants program, Certified Management Consultants. We want all youngsters, all those who have experience of say 10 years, 5 to 10 years in industry to go for management consulting, who are keen to go for management consulting. We wish that you should undergo this certification process of CMC, Certified Management Consultant. For details, you can always get in touch with us with the numbers that are given here in the screen. Now, I extend warm welcome to 2 of my senior colleagues, Sri K.R. Charigaru and also Muhammad Mushtaq Ali. Yeah. Right? Good. Now, these are very, very prominent people in consulting. Sri Charigaru is 25 years with management with the National Productivity Council as Regional Director of NPC. He retired as Regional Director of National Productivity Council, Hyderabad, and 8 years of IT sector in hardcore responsibilities, roles and responsibilities, 15 years as Professor and Dean Operations Management at Birla Institute of Management Technology. Now, he is an expert in operations management, and he has given consulting to more than 500 organizations in India and abroad in around 16 to 17 sectors of Indian economy. And his passionate areas are circular economy. You might have seen, you may be knowing that it is wealth from waste is his passionate area. Also, he has been conferred the Productivity Champion Award, which is given in 5 years. Once in 5 years, he is the first recipient from India, and this has been given by Asian Productivity Organization, Tokyo. This is a National Productivity Champion Award. Sir, I would like to request Sir Charigaru to speak about the operations management area. Now, sir, before you speak, I would like to introduce our Mushtaq sir also. Mushtaq is a very young management consultant. Young does not mean he is very young. He has a lot of experience. He's a 23 years of experience. He is Muhammad Mushtaq Ali, Senior Management Consultant and Business Advisor. By qualification, he is MBA and PMP. He worked in very big responsibilities, big roles and responsibilities in very prominent companies like Panasonic, Sony and Motorola. And he is consulting areas prominently are into strategy, marketing, sales and retail, e-commerce and export import and general management. And industries particularly in this what he covers include consumer durable and electronics, FMCG, IT sector, IT software and services, fintech, edutech and MSME. Now, we would like to go about this panel discussion in two parts. One part is operations management. We would like to cover two parts. One is two areas, operations management and sales and marketing in India and abroad. I requested Chari sir to speak about the operations management and our Mushtaq sir to speak on sales and marketing in India and abroad. You know, when you speak about abroad, it is foreign trade, international trade, and he is an expert in there. Now, the two prominent things what we would like to cover are the changing scenario of management consulting, particularly in operations management area, and the future trends, changes, what is going to happen in operations management. Now, I would like to invite Chari sir to speak his views on changing scenario of management consulting in operations research area, sir. Operations management area.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arishi. Good evening, friends. Well, as I've been asked to speak something on the operations management related consulting practices. To start with, I'd like to say there is a general misunderstanding of the terminology operations in industry, and invariably I have seen that when somebody talks about operations, people have a tendency to immediately link it up with production process, machine utilization processes. But I want to clarify at the beginning that operations is all encompassing any bit and piece of work that is done to take a product or a service from its raw material input stage to the output stage. Every process is an operation, and everybody involved in the organization, whatever he is doing, that activity becomes an operation, because an operation eats away into some time of a man, some time of a machinery, some time of energy, and some time of material. Okay, part of that. And all of this put together, which we normally call as the resources, you know, the man, material, machinery and energy, these are resources. When they are converting, it is the efficiency of conversion of the raw material into finished product is the crux of the matter, and you can call it the name of the game. The more efficient I am in converting these resources or input resources into the finished product, okay, with the least possible consumption, so much more productive I am, and that becomes, you know, but like a very competitive in the market on a pricing front. If my costs are low, I can, you know, better compete in the market. So worldwide, you know, with my experience across the globe, you know, spanning from West, United States on the west to the Japan on the east, many European countries, including some African countries, including Singapore, Hong Kong. I have had opportunities to work with them. One thing I have seen is whenever we talk about any process or trying to provide consulting, initially I also used to using jargons, but over years I learned one thing, that across the globe, the managements of any organization, they do not understand any language like English or Japanese or French or German or Tamil or Telugu or something. But one language that I have seen which they understand very well is the language of money. And effectively, because everything as a consulting organization, as a consultant, when you suggest something, you're going to suggest a change in the existing process or operation, which might require some kind of investment, everything. And whenever it comes to spending money, everybody is concerned. Will I be paid back? Okay. And unless I convert my ideas and my thoughts and my recommendations in terms of money, that you spend X amount and you will get a return of X plus delta X. At the moment I talk that language of money, that you spend 100 rupees, you can get 150, it is very easily understood by management. Then I can talk about the systems that I want to incorporate, how much will the system cost. Okay. Then we talk about value engineering kind, design optimization, process optimization kind, materials management systems, materials handling systems, everywhere. And going to the extent of the non-production areas, the operations, I'll give some examples like, right, let us start. Every factory or organization has a main gate. And there is a security person sitting there, okay, either checking up the incoming material or incoming people, everything. He's doing something. At the amount of or the number of people required at that gate is a function of the amount of work they have to do. And amount of work is related with time that he is going to spend, and the organization is paying for that time. So that's why they are concerned. So more effective ways to do that. So how effectively, what is the process they are adopting, and whether that process can be simplified. That's where we talk about operation simplification. So instead of taking 5 minutes, if we can do the same thing in 1.5 minutes, the organization gets benefited by that. So instead of having to, put 5 people job.
That's where consultants come.
Yeah, that is exactly where the consultants come, into that, because see, initial consultants also develop themselves, over a period of time. You start as a very raw person, very young, and when you go as a consultant very young, the normal resistance in the organization is, this 20, 22 years, 25 years guy, what will he tell us? And things always tell that. Like, they are very basic questions which even I have been asked many times in my life. Like you walk into a paper mill.
Yes.
And you are trying to provide them consultancy. So simple question they will ask is, have you ever made paper? Have you ever worked in a paper plant? I go to steel. So they will ask, have you ever produced steel? Do you know how steel is made? And that used to be really difficult situation. And after initial years, analyzing, then you realize that irrespective whether you are talking about mining or steel or fertilizer or sugar or whatever, every organization using some machinery, okay, is just like a conveyor. Many organizations use conveyor for carrying. Now I say, I don't know whether you are carrying sugarcane on that, iron ore on that, material on that, or even dead bodies on that. I don't care. But I can optimize the operation of the conveyor, because conveyor is a conveyor for me. What you convey on that is not the concern. Yes, the loading pattern, efficiency of the conversion, energy efficiency of the conveyor, that is where the consultant can come. Okay, he cannot suggest that don't load this material, because that's your process requirement. Okay.
Yes.
Similarly, a motor is a motor. Okay, what for you are using to drive what, I don't know. But we are very clear about how a motor can run very efficiently with the least consumption of energy. Okay, that is where the efficiencies come. Now, same thing I can apply to anything, like a furnace you talk. Now, nobody cares what you are burning in that furnace. All I know is per kg of that burning, how much heat is required, and whether your furnace is consuming more than that. So, designing the furnace and optimizing the operation of the furnace will fall under operations management. How effectively?
With reference to some benchmarks.
Okay. So, what you are producing is not my concern. But to produce that product or service with one unit, what should be the most optimum level of consumption and what you are consuming actually? Because that difference, once I establish, what is ideal and what is actual, the gap is the scope for the consultant.
Wonderful.
Okay?
Wonderful.
And that gap is what is going to pay you back.
Yes.
So more efficient. So that is initially brief, and I would like to come later as we
gap
proceed
between normal and
Normal and ideal.
Ideal, no.
No, actual and ideal.
Actual and ideal. Yes, and ideal. Yes. This gives you the.
And, let me at this stage. See, I try to explain, when we say, actual and ideal, human body temperature is ideally 98.4 degree Fahrenheit, they say. Okay. Now, something goes wrong with the body.
Go to doctor.
Somebody develops, no. It says 99 it becomes. Generally, okay, it's okay, minor, nothing else. Just take rest and it will be okay. You are not taking any action, though gap is there little. Supposing that becomes 100.
Alarming one, yes.
100. He says, oh, little fever it seems. Okay, take some precautionary medicine, I don't know the names of the medicine because luckily I never had to take.
Wonderful.
But there are tablets available, it will be okay. 101. You get, I think, fever. Let us do something serious, contact a doctor.
Alarming signals.
Depending on that. 102. The gap is increasing now.
Yes.
It becomes more alarming.
Yes.
103, 104.
You cannot be complacent.
It can become ICU case.
Yes.
Okay, that is, more concerted efforts have to put in, more serious efforts.
Exactly.
So, it is where the levels of management come into picture.
Wonderful.
If the gap is very small, I would normally leave it to the shop floor management, give some simple suggestions.
Exactly.
But if it goes to 105,
It
is beyond
it's
ICU
case.
even.
Beyond ICU even.
Yes.
Yes.
And that means it's a question of life and death.
Intervention
So once
of the experts required.
this is applicable for every operation that we are talking about. What should be ideal is this, your actual is this. So first establish the gap and then find out appropriate managerial actions to close this gap, bring it to ideal condition.
Sir, before I ask you further on the future trends about that, let me invite our Mushtaq sir to speak about the current scenario, the changing scenario of management consulting with particular reference to sales, marketing in India and abroad.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you, Dr. Arishri. Fortunate to have started in the field of sales and marketing with Motorola. Those time it was selling pages.
Yes.
Before the mobiles have come down.
Correct.
So that time it was basically direct sales, direct marketing, and after that it has been international exposure in Dubai with Sony and Panasonic. So the trends which have changed basically, earlier the management consultancies used to provide basically the research work, raw research, primary research and secondary research, and they used to provide the insights. And those time it was not much analytics was not there, and a lot of changes has come now. And those time basically very senior people from industry, those senior consultants used to come into picture when certain big problems arises, and they used to directly deal with the management. And normally the lower end and the middle management consultancy guys used to work on, they used to slog a lot on the market data collection and putting into formats and doing the presentations and giving to the clients basically. So earlier the pain points of the industry was different. It was basically running the business, profitability, raw materials and manpower, other things. Now especially after the COVID, things have changed drastically for everyone. I mean, many businesses have got closed down and certain new opportunities have arisen, and somebody has used those opportunities and grown the business. So now with the emergence of technology, especially AI and data analytics, things have become a bit easy to provide the insights and collection of data and to give valuable suggestions to the companies. But even the expectations and demand from the industry has also changed, not merely just to the advisory level, what used to be the consulting firm used to do earlier. Now consulting firms has to basically get down with their clients and to see that a solution is provided, not merely the insights and information, other things. That is the change which has happening, and it has to be adopted by the management consultancies. Moreover, all the normal work which used to happen in management consultants in terms of data collection and all the formulas and presentation, everything, that has to be taken care of the latest technologies. So the management consultants and the consultancies has to adopt the latest evolving technologies, and it will further evolve and further will be helpful basically. So those technologies has to be taken into sight and the experience and the expertise of respective domains has to be used to provide the solutions, because nowadays data everybody knows, information everybody knows, so it has become like a information fog for the companies. They don't know how to navigate, and a lot of information available everywhere, but to hold their hands and pass through, guide them through this information fog is very important. That's where the management consultants come into picture, and basically the trust has to be built up with the clients, and we can navigate through that hard times, and the trust has to be built up, and companies basically more subject matter experts, more senior people has to involve themselves more and more with the companies. That is a trend has to be changed and get involvement in that. Now apart from that, there are a lot of tools basically available nowadays. I mean, even if you see sales, like, HubSpot is there. There are so many in marketing. There are so many things are there where the things can be done very quickly and more accurately. So that time can be saved, and more focus can be put into the solution providing, because nowadays clients are also very demanding. They don't want to waste money and time on this process and other things, because many companies, they also have something or the other in the in-house. But the expertise what we have, like I've been in the industry for more than 23 years, worked with big companies and been around international markets. So that's where we can give the insights, apart from that we can provide the solutions. We can navigate through the tough times for the companies. So that's what the real role is changing. So apart from that, when you see the international market, India and international market, India has got FTAs, free trade agreements with many companies, either SAARC countries or Australia. We have signed it. We are in discussion with UK and other companies, and new initiatives are being basically taken out by the government of India in terms of various schemes to promote exports. And luckily, our partner, basically the China, the neighbor, things are not going well. So the whole world is looking towards India to have the production setup, and we have the opportunity to market our goods and services, IT services, and any products what we have made in India products throughout the world. And if you see, like last year information itself, more than 1,000 companies want to come into India to have their production facilities. That is the problem, that is a chance what we have for this generation. When we were young and when we started our careers, this thing was not there.
Was not there, yes.
This was not there. But now youngsters have got so many opportunities, and India is at the right time and the right place where we can take use of these opportunities. And apart from that, there are so many foreign companies which want to come up and set up their regional centers, regional offices, and market their goods and product services for the Indian market, which is very huge market. So those companies need to know what Indians are, what their habits are, what the consumer behavior is there, what are the trends basically, what are the seasonal curves, everything, and how the market is. So all that things where we come into picture, where we consultancies can provide the information and we can guide through. For example, in Hyderabad itself, in Telangana, more than 106 Japanese companies are operating in various domains, various industries. So I've been worked with Japanese for more than 10 years. I know their culture. I know how they think, how they act, how they run their businesses. So we can, that's where I can provide Indo-Japan and Indo-Japan advisory for both Indian companies and also Japanese companies entering the
startups
market.
Also will be interested.
Also. A lot of startups, they fail because they don't provide and they don't focus mostly on the marketing side, on the sales and business development side, because many people I have seen basically they're passionate about the product, but no matter how good the product is, you need to market it. You need to sell it basically to earn the money, to run the business, to have the sustainability. So that is where basically they lack focus. And the new concept which is also evolving is fractional CMOs and other things, where you can hire people not on the permanent basis, but also on you can have it like fractional CMOs. A senior person from marketing side can provide you the services of a marketing director, marketing VP. He can guide you on these areas. So same thing with other areas also. So those things has to be used by the startups. They should not hesitate to use the experienced people to run their business. They can focus on what they are good at, but the problem is they try to do everything by their own side. Of course, limitations are there with money and manpower, but government is supporting that startup initiative also. On the international front, I said a lot of companies looking into coming into India, and we have got scope to export and a very good opportunity at the right time. Support from the government, support from the perspective the perception of India has changed. Now people, they value Indian products, especially on the IT sector. Sitting in India, Hyderabad, the whole Middle East and Africa look towards India for the IT support, IT services, IT products. Particularly Hyderabad and Bangalore. And likewise, basically, we have got and everything from spices, everything, food grain, and everything we have got. And traditionally, we have been being the Indus civilization. We have got everything, and we people are known basically as the most talented, because you can see a lot of Indians heading big multinational technology giants, and they are everywhere basically. So that is there in our blood basically. So that has to be used, and there is
international banks.
Yeah, so what this thing, the world should know what we have, what Indians can offer. So that has to be marketed. That has to be globally reached. For example, from Hyderabad, there are so many products from Telangana that has reached to each corner of the world. So that's where the big opportunity is there for exports. A lot of imports are also happening in India, and a lot of companies are setting their plants in India, local made in India, like a lot of air conditioner brands.
I would like to know how this can be captured by management consultants. I want you to see from consultants' point of view.
Yeah, those companies which are coming into India, so they will not basically have full-fledged operation. They will not have.
Correct.
They will not have people on ground. They don't know the market much, and they don't want to come. They don't want to. They want to rely on somebody who knows the market well, who can provide them the support, and who can collaborate with basically local, legally, and also government relations. So that's where basically our management consultants,
statutory compliances,
we come into picture. Now, apart from that, even export side, we know, like for example, people who are into exports, like myself, basically, we know the market, Gulf market, we know Japan market, we know Iran, we know Africa, we know. Mostly people, they get afraid of when we talk about Africa, because it is very difficult to get money out of Africa, and that logistic issues are there. But luckily, our Indians, second, third generation Indians, Sindhis, Marwadis, all these people are operating in India. As you take in Nigeria, we got people, Ghana, Kenya. So it is still safe to do business with Africa, and it is a good opportunity. That where we can look forward. So there we come into picture, like export, import consultants who can guide the Indian businesses, Indian products to take to the whole world.
Great, thank you very much. Now, if you see the future trends, particularly future changes, you find technology-enabled marketing consulting. Now it is management consulting that is now on the picture. You have artificial intelligence-driven tools are there, and business analytics, IoT, robotics. Now you find so many new technologies are coming up, and these technologies are going to change the scenario of the management consulting. How you are going to see? Sometimes when I do not know anything, I used to use the Google. Now today people are speaking about ChatGPT, and you find things are made available so quickly and perfectly also. So I want to know this one aspect. Technology is one aspect. The second one is the trend is that consultants should be strategic partners in the business. That's how the people don't want to just advisory. People want to they don't want you to be hand-holding them. They want you to be result-oriented.
Run with them and be a part of them.
Yes.
You have to get into the skin basically.
Yes. So this is what is the present trend. Now, in the light of this context, I would like to know how the operations management, particularly in operations management, the future trends are going to be. And later, sir will speak about the sales and marketing part.
Nice.
Sir, please.
Dr. Arish, you touched on two terms that caught my attention.
Sir.
You did talk about automation on one side, the latest trend,
robotics,
artificial intelligence, ChatGPT,
yes,
okay, and advanced technologies, robotics, one side.
Yes, sir.
And then you ask about the role of the officers, management consulting.
Correct.
See, one thing is, there is just no doubt these things have come into existence. Okay, we can't do anything about it.
True.
Okay, because developers are doing their part, they are doing their part, and it is coming into market.
Yes.
So generally, it's a human tendency to go for the easily available things.
Exactly.
Least cost. That's where, I will come back to my point. That how I can make the least cost option for, for the management or for the owners of industry. Now, talking about automation, I'm lucky that over my about 50 years of interaction with a large range of industries.
5 decades.
You're saying cement being manufactured at one point of time with the slurry technology, the energy consumption was very, very high, coal consumption was very high, everything. So slowly as technologies developed. It came to the, semi-wet or semi-dry kind of processing, where instead of slurry, were forced to evaporate a lot of water which goes into the air and all the energy. So they came to semi-dry process. Then it came to the dry process. Or each one of these changes has taken place in about 12 to 15 years kind of time. Okay. So whenever a new technology comes, any industry that is going to invest, they would naturally and normally not like to invest on the older technology. They want. But unfortunately what happens, as all of us are facing, I am sure, I am facing at least, especially talking about electronics or computers. You go to the shop or mobile for that matter. I bought something that is supposed to be latest. And I bring it home, I start using it. In 15, 20 days or maybe a month time comes, more advanced thing has come. Now, what do you do with your investment? This is nothing. When I'm talking about computer, maybe I'm planning for 2, 3, 4 years kind changeover. But think about an industry. If they have updated the technology, they invest in the technology, huge amounts of money. And the life of this new equipment is estimated at least 20, 25, 30 years. Now, if technology comes in between after 1, 2 years, the industry finds itself a catch-22 condition. That having bought that technology, now what do I do with that? So it becomes, they start facing competition because the more advanced technologies are more cost-effective, naturally, because of the investment that has gone to them and the way they have performed. So it becomes more challenging for the existing units to compete with them. How to bring down my cost. And that is where the consultant's role comes into picture. That how to go deep into the processes and try to, again, try to bridge that gap. The gap is going to be there. But, some of very typical cases where large size organizations with, beautiful set of highly experienced, qualified technology people. When it comes to adopting a technology, so automation when we talk now, we have to keep in mind that whatever automation I am talking about or thinking about, it should be matching with my requirement basically. Fine, I'll come back to that a little later. Now, that is where the word is used, appropriate technology we use. It is not necessary for me to go for the latest of the laptops or latest of computer, okay? Because I am not capable, I don't need that advancement. The way I operate, my requirements can be matched with perhaps 2 generations lower. If I don't need the technology, then don't invest in that.
That will be cheaper also.
Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, when it comes cheap, the generation as it changes, lower thing becomes much cheaper. But, there are cases where out of sheer enthusiasm and to keep pace with the audience, people have gone to, there are cases like in the mining industry. You had, the conventional mining was man-oriented, labor-oriented, that Fauda and Hathoda type of. So you keep on digging and breaking and blasting. Then came, blasting units came and instead of 2 tons at one time, you suddenly blast, 200 tons one time. So it becomes, people adopted that. The transportation systems increase, instead of, loading on the head, then automated trolley mounted system. Much later, there was a technology much higher level. Suddenly came tunnel boring machine. Now, out of, I don't know what to call that. Just to be in the forefront and updated, now the company decides to buy the tunnel boring machine. You are talking like 60, 80, 100 to 200 crores range. They are not small things.
Small things.
You are earlier managing with perhaps 50 lakh rupees machine. Now, suddenly decision was taken. Now you find once you put that into operation, it has a speed that where in the earlier stage I was not able to advance in the mines, maybe 2 meters per shift. Now this tunnel boring machine advances 50 meters in one shift. It's a good productivity. They are happy, they are justifying. Look, it was a good decision. But parallelly, while buying that technology, we forgot that all this amount of so much of additional mined material, it needs to be brought out from that place. And I didn't even plan for that conveying system. So you go and get stuck after 50, it turns out that next 3, 4, 5 days you are not using that machine. Why? Because this needs to be cleared. So there are supporting equipment for that. So for every advanced technology, there is a supporting technology available. So at the planning stage, one has to be very, very, very careful. It happens, okay, 8, 10, 15 days you use it. The teeth are there, cutting teeth, actually. They wear out. As it turns out, each set of these teeth will cost you something like 12 lakhs of rupees. Okay? And you are not planned for a spare set of teeth. And second thing is, with all due regards, I want to say, when we
Does it not come with the entire system?
No, also I'll tell you, sir, it has also very widely, generally observed, when it comes to selection of technologies, we keep hearing, okay, Japan has done this, or Germany has developed this or something. While going to see the technology and understand it, conventionally, invariably it happens, that the top of the organization they go, very, very senior people, because you are talking about investment, decision making. So a decision is taken. And finally, they decide that, okay, we'll buy this technology, it orders are placed, the whole equipment plant comes. Now, the senior management group, the top management, they are not the people going to operate this machine.
Correct.
It is the worker on my shop floor and the supervisor and perhaps the shop floor manager, whose responsibility is to operate it. And they don't know anything about the new technology. Okay? Nor they have been trained, pre-trained on that. So I said once, if the top goes naturally, when you are talking about 100 crores investment, some senior decision making level is. But at the same time, we must also plan that parallelly, let us send a group of our people to see that in operation, understand how it operates, what are the problems coming, so that I don't end up in a difficult situation once I buy that machine.
Costly machine.
And this gap I have observed in many, many, many cases. Quite if I can reel down. Similarly, when you talk about automation, it is definitely going to impact the employment part. Okay, labor redundancy or worker redundancy. While selecting a technology, I always keep recommending to people when I talked about appropriateness. If I am talking about India, before taking a decision about a new technology, I must assess, I have some way of assessing what is its impact going to be and whether that's really appropriate for India with such a complex demographic formation. It's one of the most complex democracies in the world. The kind of people available, the kind of labor available here and all. Now, if I automate something which is going to replace 100 people, now it becomes a concern, for the government's concern is what do I do with these 100 unemployed people? Okay. And why, as rightly friend Mr. Mustaq has said, why so many foreign countries are coming to India? The only reason is labor. If they do it in America, it will cost them perhaps 1 lakh rupees equivalent, but the same thing in India, they can get it done in 10,000 rupees. So it is the cost economics part which is forcing them to think about India. Plus the other advantage is, again, as I said, population demography. They know that India is a huge market. So put a plant here, can supply logistics, transportation, everything. So keep it. Now consultant's role again comes here, is it? How he himself is updating his knowledge about the changes in technologies, the changes in operations, automation. Now, if I go back by what I knew maybe 50 years back, it doesn't exist anymore today. Things have changed. The way I used to make paper 50 years back or 30 years back is not the way I make paper today. And, the textile, the way I used to make then is entirely different than what I am making today. Because the kind of machines, you talk about the magnetic machines, weaving machines and, air jet water looms and water jet looms and there are so many advancements.
Technology has changed.
So now the consultants who are into that field, they must update their knowledge about these technologies. So they understand that such a costly machine, something like a 50 crores investment, every minute of that machine's time matters. Okay, the cost, it goes on. So due to some reason, if it is not operating properly, it's very badly going to affect matter. The same thing was not so earlier. Even if something goes wrong with machine, you can afford half an hour downtime. But today you can't afford even 1 minute downtime. So, and how do I understand that? Unless I keep updating myself about the technologies,
Well said.
I will not be in a position to suggest anything to them. And that even most of us as consultants, we do face that problem also. That how many technologies you can update yourself with.
No, specialize in one, yeah, one or two, yes.
So that's what I have to react like. Then let us proceed further.
Wonderful.
Any other
We'll come back to you, sir.
angle? If
We'll
I
come back
have
to you.
this? Yeah, please.
Mushtaq, sir.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of technology development, I myself is a fan of technology because it helps humans to live a better life, a easy life, a smooth life. But I'll tell you my
Quality
own
of life.
example,
Quality
quality
of
of life, a peaceful life basically. I'll tell my example, and when I used to carry 2 pages, beep beep, 2 sentences, 2 lines. So we used to sell that as a paging solution to hotels and other things. They used to communicate, the manager used to communicate with the room voice, where that fellow is, where what is required. So that was a technology at that time.
At the time.
But after that phones came, mobile phones came, it was very expensive, then it became cheap, it was easy to communicate. So technology will evolve till the doomsday. There is no stopping it. And only thing is we have to take the technology in our stride, what is useful for us. For example, nowadays, there are n number of things in the world. We don't take everything, right? We don't eat everything available in the world. We eat only what we need. So companies also has to think over what technology is needed for their business, where they can progress, where they can make profitability, where they can grow. So that's where basically consultants come into picture. They guide the companies. They basically analyze the current systems, processes, and they do, when the company wants to do the changes, they advise the appropriate solutions in the market. For example, there are so many technologies, not every technology is needed for a company to succeed to it. In fact, the human factor is very important. No matter what the technology advancement happens, it cannot basically take over human beings, because robots, when you talk about robotics, yes, robots can be a great thing in terms of service industry. They can do a good service in hotels, restaurants, but the human touch, when you see, when you talk to a person, when you smile a person, when you do provide service a person to person, that approach, basically the emotional part, emotional intelligence, that can't be done by the technology. So currently technology is evolving, it will evolve. Only thing is we have to use it for our own benefit. That's it basically, and it is going to evolve. It is going to evolve.
Thank you, Mushtaq. Thank you very much for suggesting that technology cannot be constant. Technology keeps always
highly dynamic.
Dynamic, and the only way of competing with technology is trying to be equally dynamic in one or two areas, not all
Sir,
areas.
can I just add something that I suddenly, we are talking about technologies.
Yes.
Of interest when I said keeping update with technologies. So I keep trying. Now I was talking about textile. So textile has been traditional. It's very established. One of the oldest in the industry. There is a warp and there is weft and you weave. So it kept weaving, and their advancements came. I was talking about the air jet looms and water jet looms and magnetic jet looms, everything. Now suddenly somebody sitting somewhere in the world has developed a non-woven cloth, simple. Non-woven cloth.
Woven cloths.
So far in the last 100 years, we have been weaving cloths.
Yes, weaving.
Suddenly some technology talking non-woven cloth.
Non-woven cloths.
Now what happens to this all weaving unit? Just imagine. Yeah, so it can actually ransack. The advancement in technology is also has become difficult and deadly for some of the established processes and organizations.
Yes.
It has become a challenge. So the moment non-woven cloth comes, I don't have to weave anymore. So why do I need looms? So all the Coimbatore industry, who are manufacturing looms will be doomed.
All over the world. All over the world.
Yes. So that is so now. That was one part, and I just wanted. No, I think we'll proceed.
Thank you very much.
That I missed.
Yeah, I think even the technology curve, what we see, some of the technologies are hyped.
Too much.
Too much hyped. So that also basically where the companies rush to adopt, but it is not required, not at all, and they end up a lot of expenditure on those technologies, where they need the expertise, subject matter experts, industry experts, where they can help them to identify the right technology suitable for them.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you very much for all your inputs. It is a great interaction with these two experts, and our Chari sir started his discussion using the very important concept, language of money. People understand only money language, and how much I get, how much I invest, how much money I am going to make. This is what is the basic concept, whether you are into production, finance, marketing, irrespective of the nature of the business, irrespective of the nature of the organization. People speak about language of money, and people speak in terms of how much money is invested, how much money is my return, what is my ROI, rate of return on investment. So operation simplification is the area where the management consultants enter, and also he said there are basic operations remain the same irrespective of the nature of the organization, and he nicely discussed about effectiveness and efficiency also, and he identified the gap between the actual and ideal, and these are the areas, this is the area, critical area where the role of management consultant becomes critical, where it is required. Now, different levels of management, irrespective of the the top level management, bottom level also should be involved in certain decisions. That's what Sri Chari has identified. If top management says this technology is very good and nobody is going to be sent for training part of it, how this technology is going to be useful. So the management consultant has to take a holistic perspective, particularly when he is making these type of suggestions. And also a couple of points what both speakers have suggested is quality of life, human factor, emotional bondage and intelligence, and technology curve. These are the areas where and our Mushtaq has identified a couple of gray areas, particularly where sales and marketing. Earlier, what are the trends of sales and what is the marketing scenario and what is the current scenario, and the technology, how technology is playing havoc, particularly even in case of digital marketing. Now earlier people used to say that there is some person required with tie and with suitcase. Now nothing is required, and you talk to people and you reach the customer. How you reach the customer, how you present yourself, these are the areas where the management consultants also have to really focus upon. This is a wonderful session. I would like to conclude with sincere thanks to both the speakers, Chari sir and also Mushtaq. Thank you very much for your valuable time and valuable intellectual inputs. And please wait for our further series of series on dynamics of management consulting in some other selective areas like HR, finance, etc., etc. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for bearing with us too, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.